Scorpio, there is someone in your life, and you know exactly who it is, who is about to descend into utter despair because of you. I'm not talking about mild regret or a casual desire to reconnect. I'm talking about a complete emotional breakdown, a visceral need, an urgency that will consume their every thought until they finally have the courage to come to you. And when that happens, you'll be surprised. Not because you didn't know your own worth. You always did. But because that specific person always pretended you were replaceable, that your presence was optional, that your impact on their life was less than it actually is. They built such a convincing facade that perhaps even you began to doubt your own importance in that dynamic. But that facade is about to crumble spectacularly. In the coming days, you will witness something that rarely happens in life. Someone who has always maintained control and distance will completely lose their composure because of you. Someone who always had the last word will beg for a conversation. Someone who always treated you as if you held the power in the relationship will reveal that, in fact, you were always the one who had the real control. That silent and profound control that doesn't need to be shouted to be felt. Are you prepared to see this person completely vulnerable, exposed, desperate for your attention, your forgiveness, your presence back in their life? For months, maybe years, you've been wondering if it was worth investing so much in a relationship that seemed unbalanced. You've questioned whether your intensity was too much, if your feelings were one-sided, if you were giving more than you were receiving. All those doubts will be shattered when you see the state of utter despair that person will be in. Because what she will demonstrate is not simply longing or regret. It's something much deeper. It's the painful recognition that she made the biggest mistake of her life when she decided she could live without you. It's the devastating realization that everything she tried to build after you left crumbled because it lacked the foundation that only you provided. It's the inescapable awareness that no one, absolutely no one, fills the space you occupied, because that space wasn't about position or function, it was about essence. Scorpio, you have a very specific gift that scares most people. You see through masks. You perceive truths that others try to hide, even from themselves. And when you genuinely connect with someone, you don't just touch the surface of that person. You reach deep layers of their soul that no one else can reach. That's why your absence isn't just felt, it's devastating. When you leave someone's life, you don't leave an ordinary void. You leave an emotional black hole that sucks all the light around it. This person who is about to show desperation for you is beginning to feel exactly that. In the last few days, weeks, or months since you distanced yourself or lessened your presence, they've tried everything to fill the void. They've tried new connections that seemed promising but proved superficial. They've tried distractions that worked for a while, but eventually lost their effect. They've tried to convince themselves they were better off without the intensity you brought. But now the truth is emerging brutally. They're not better off. They're worse. Much worse. Can you feel this energy shifting around you, even from a distance? For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this desperate person is someone from your romantic past, who always pretended to have completely moved on from the relationship. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, it's someone from your social or family circle who always downplayed your importance. And for those born between November 13th and 22nd, it's someone from your professional environment who will finally realize that you were the key piece that kept everything running smoothly. But regardless of who it is specifically, all Scorpios will experience the same thing, the startling moment of seeing someone who seemed so strong and indifferent reveal themselves to be completely broken by your absence. And here's what's most powerful about it all. It's not about revenge or petty satisfaction. It's about validation. It's about finally having external confirmation of what you always felt internally, that your connection, your presence, your love, your energy were real, deep, and irreplaceable, no matter how much the other person tried to pretend otherwise. The despair that's coming will manifest itself in ways you don't expect. It might start with vague messages, casual attempts to reconnect that are actually tests to see if you still care. It might come through third parties, mutual acquaintances who suddenly start mentioning this person frequently, testing your reaction. It might emerge in the form of impossible coincidences, unplanned encounters that seem orchestrated by the universe to force a confrontation you've both been avoiding. But eventually, despair will break all these indirect attempts. There will come a moment when this person will no longer be able to maintain composure, will no longer be able to act as if they are okay, will no longer be able to pretend that your absence is something they can handle. And at that moment, you will see something you may never have seen before. This person completely raw, without defenses, without games, without masks. Just naked pain and total vulnerability. The big question is, how will you respond when that moment arrives? Because it will arrive, Scorpio. It's not a possibility, it's inevitable. The universe is orchestrating events to ensure this confrontation happens, and your response will define not only the future of this specific relationship, but will set a new standard in your life for how you deal with people who didn't appreciate you when they had the chance. Will you succumb to their desperation, or will you maintain your newly established boundaries? Here's what I need you to understand. This person's desperation isn't necessarily a reason to turn back. It might just be the confirmation you needed to move forward with peace and certainty. For a long time, you may have carried some doubt, some what if, some fantasy that maybe you exaggerated the importance of that connection. But when you see the desperation, you'll know you didn't exaggerate anything. Your intensity was reciprocated, even if on the other side that intensity was denied and repressed. What this person will reveal in their desperation is that they always felt for you exactly what you felt for them. The difference is that you had the courage to honor those feelings while they chose to deny them, repress them, fight against them. They thought they could control what they felt through denial. But Scorpio, feelings cannot be controlled like that. They are like water seeking its level. Eventually they will find a way out, and when they do, they come with all the accumulated force of repression. Scorpio, you need to know that the despair you're experiencing is proportional to the depth of the connection that was denied. If it was something superficial, this person would simply move on without looking back. But because the connection touched deep layers they may not even have known they possessed, the denial of that connection created a wound that doesn't heal, only worsens with time. And now it has reached the point where the pain is so intense that it can no longer be ignored or hidden. You'll also be surprised by the intensity and nature of what this person will be willing to do or say to win you back. Promises you never expected to hear. Vulnerability you've never seen her demonstrate. Admissions of mistakes you doubted she would ever acknowledge. It's as if desperation breaks down all the walls she had built, not only in relation to you, but in relation to herself. But here's the important warning. Desperation is not the same as genuine transformation. Someone in desperation will say and do anything to alleviate immediate pain. But once the pain subsides, old defenses may return. So if you decide to give this person another chance, it can't be based solely on the desperation they demonstrate. It has to be based on concrete evidence that they have done the necessary inner work to be up to the intensity that a connection with you requires. Because let's be honest, Scorpio, you're not easy to love. Not in the sense that you're difficult or problematic, but in the sense that you demand total authenticity. You don't accept half-truths or partial compromises. When you love completely, and you expect the same in return. And many people simply don't have the courage for that level of intensity. They want the benefits of your depth without paying the price of the total vulnerability you demand. This person who is about to show despair is finally learning that you can't have a Scorpio superficially. It's all or nothing, and she chose nothing, thinking it would be safer, more controllable, less scary. But now she's discovering that nothing is actually worse than anything she feared about surrendering completely to you. Because nothing is absolute emptiness. It's total absence. It's the lack of something she never knew she needed so much until she lost it. Despair will be accompanied by deep regret. She will regret every moment she made you feel like you were too much. She will regret every time she minimized your feelings or treated your intensity as a flaw. She will especially regret the words she said or the actions she took when she decided to walk away, words and actions that now, in perspective, reveal themselves as the biggest mistake she could have made. And you know what's most interesting, Scorpio? You probably won't feel the satisfaction you imagined you would feel seeing this person in despair. Because when you truly evolve, you no longer feed on the suffering of others, even the suffering of those who hurt you. Instead, you'll feel a complex mix of emotions: validation for having your perceptions confirmed, sadness for the time and energy that were wasted, perhaps even compassion for someone who is learning such a painful lesson. But above all, you will feel power. Not the power to hurt her back, but the power to consciously choose what to do with the situation. The power to decide if this person deserves a second chance or if the cycle has definitively ended. The power to establish completely new terms for any future interaction. The power to finally occupy the valuable space you always deserved in that dynamic. Can you feel this power growing within you, as if something is realigning in your essence? Before despair reaches its peak, you'll start noticing subtle signs. This person may begin appearing in your dreams with unusual frequency. You might feel a strange energy when you think about them, as if an energetic connection is reactivating even before any physical contact. You may begin to have sudden insights into the true nature of that relationship, understandings you didn't have before. These are preparations. The universe is preparing you for the emotional confrontation that is coming, ensuring that when it arrives, you are centered enough not to be dragged down by old feelings without first consciously processing them. Because another person's despair can be very seductive, especially when it's someone you genuinely loved or cared about. It can awaken in you the desire to save or immediately return to the previous connection. But here's the Scorpio wisdom you need to access now. True transformation comes through fire, not through easy pain relief. If this person needs to be in despair to finally see their truth, then they need to go through that process completely. Cutting the process short to alleviate their discomfort would be robbing them of the lesson their soul is trying to learn. It would also rob you of the opportunity to establish a completely new dynamic based on genuine mutual respect. Desperation will reveal something more than just that person's need for you. It will reveal aspects of their own personality that they've been denying. Because usually, when someone rejects the intensity of a Scorpio, it's not really about the Scorpio, it's about the fear that person has of their own intensity. You act as a mirror reflecting back to them parts of themselves that they aren't ready to face. So when this person falls into despair, what's really happening is a collapse of the defenses they use to protect themselves not only from you, but from themselves. It's a brutal moment of truth, where they can no longer deny that they too are intense, too feel deeply, too are capable of connections that transcend the ordinary. And this revelation can be simultaneously liberating and terrifying for them. Scorpio, the despair you are about to witness will also be a test for you. A test to see if you have truly evolved beyond old relationship patterns. A test to see if you can maintain your center even when someone is begging you to come back. A test to see if you have learned that your worth doesn't need to be proven through dependence on another person, even when that dependence is ultimately admitted and demonstrated. Because here's a hard truth. Part of you may have longed for this moment. You may have fantasized about the day this person would finally acknowledge their mistake and come looking for you. And now that that day is approaching, you're going to discover if that longing came from a healthy place of wanting to be valued or from a wounded place of wanting to prove your worth. The difference is crucial. If their desire for recognition came from a healthy place, you will be able to receive their desperation with compassion, but also with clear boundaries. You will be able to value the validation it brings without it defining your sense of worth. But if it came from a wounded place, their desperation may temporarily inflate your ego in ways that will be problematic later. You'll have choices to make, whether to reopen that connection or not, whether to offer friendship when the other person wants much more, whether to use this moment of power to completely renegotiate the terms of the relationship or to end it once and for all with clarity and closure. But most importantly, for the first time in this dynamic, you'll be making these decisions from a position of total strength, not hope or need. And that, Scorpio, is revolutionary. Because you've always known your own worth, but now that worth is being reflected back to you in such an intense way that even you will be surprised. You will see through the desperate eyes of this person how much you truly matter, how much your presence truly transforms, how truly irreplaceable you are. And this external vision will finally align with your internal perception, creating a powerful congruence that will elevate your entire life to a new level. Also be prepared for the fact that other people will notice the change in energy. When someone shows desperation for you, it sends ripples through the entire connected social network. People who previously didn't value your presence will begin to reconsider. Those who treated you as optional will begin to realize that you are essential. A person's public or semi-public display of desperation for you acts as an announcement to everyone else about your true worth. This can create an interesting situation where suddenly several people will want to reconnect with you, will want to be more present in your life, will show interest they didn't show before. Not because you've changed, you've always been amazing, but because one person's desperation has created social proof of what you represent. And people are influenced by social proof, even when they shouldn't be. But you, wise Scorpio, won't let this renewed interest distract you from what truly matters. You will use this time to carefully assess who in your life is present for genuine reasons and who is merely reacting to a shift in social dynamics. This clarity will be one of the most valuable gifts this entire situation will bring you. This person's despair will also teach you something profound about the nature of human regret. You will observe in real time how someone goes through stages of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and eventually acceptance of the loss they themselves created. And this observation will give you a deep understanding of human psychology that will serve you for the rest of your life. You will learn that people often only value what they have when they lose it. That many need to hit rock bottom to start climbing. That pride can make a person destroy the best thing they had in life. And that regret, when it finally arrives, can be absolute and consuming. These lessons will make you simultaneously more compassionate and wiser about where to invest your emotional energy from now on. Scorpio, this upcoming moment will mark a turning point in your personal evolution. Not because someone else's despair defines you, but because your response to that despair will demonstrate how much you have grown. It will show whether you are still operating from a place of wounding or from a place of healing. It will reveal whether you still need external validation or have already found sufficient internal validation. Regardless of how you choose to respond, whether you choose to give it another chance, offer friendship, or choose a definitive separation, the universe will support your decision as long as it comes from an authentic and conscious place. The important thing is not which choice you make, but that you make it with your eyes wide open, fully understanding the implications and accepting full responsibility for the consequences. Prepare your heart for what is coming, not by hardening it, but by strengthening it. There is a difference. A hard heart feels nothing and protects itself through denial. A strong heart feels everything but is not controlled by those feelings. You will need a strong heart to witness the despair of someone you cared about without losing your center or your boundaries. The ultimate goal of all this is not revenge, nor ego gratification, nor proving you were right. The goal is transformation, yours and possibly hers. It's the opportunity for both of you to emerge from this experience as more authentic and self-aware versions of yourselves. It's the chance to transform an old wound into profound wisdom. Are you prepared to see another person's despair as a mirror, reflecting not only the value you have for them, but the value you need to have for yourself? Share in the comments if you've noticed signs, subtle changes that indicate someone is approaching a breaking point in relation to you. Your experiences will validate those of other Scorpios who are going through the same process. Subscribe to the channel now, because you'll need guidance on how to navigate what's coming. How to respond to despair in a way that honors both you and the other person. How to establish healthy boundaries even when someone is in a state of extreme vulnerability. How to use this moment to elevate your life to a new level of authenticity and personal power. Turn on notifications so you don't miss guidance that will support you through this intense transformation. Despair is coming. Recognition is arriving. The validation you've always deserved will finally manifest in a way you can't ignore. The only question that remains is, are you ready to receive all of this with the wisdom and strength that characterize an evolved Scorpio?